going. And so good morning, sports world. Well, good morning, world. Thank you all for tuning in with us on this incredible morning for the Early Morning Sports Talk podcast. We are thankful for everyone tuning in. And so as a reminder, every week, we always like to begin our podcast by reminding our audience that the Early Morning Sports Talk podcast can be found on Facebook via the Early Morning Sports Talk podcast page, on Spotify as the Early Morning Sports Talk podcast, YouTube, Apple Podcasts as the Early Morning Sports Talk podcast, as well as our own Facebook pages via Brandon Price and Jamar Goodman, amongst other streaming platforms. Today is March 20th, 2021, and we have yet again seen an interesting week in the sports world where we saw the NCAA tournament get back into action after missing out for the 2020 season. We saw Loyola look very good after a slow start, but once again reminded that they were off pretty much a few days prior to the big conference tournaments, the major fives. And they looked really good once they got their defense going and they started to play free. Sadly enough, they will face U of I, Jamar, tomorrow. We saw Andy Dalton get signed by the Chicago Bears for 1 year and $10 million to become the starter of the Chicago Bears for this upcoming season. We additionally saw Kyle Fuller be released and Akeem Hicks granted the ability to request a trade and see what's out there in the market. Alongside U of I looked stellar in their tournament debut. And with that being said, introducing my brother from another mother, Mr. Jamar Goodman. How are you this morning, sir?
Man, I guess it depends on these topics we about to talk about first. So I'll let you know.
I got you. I understand because these are indeed some very interesting topics. And so with that being said, let's begin, my brother, with the Chicago Bears. Signed in Mr. Andy Dalton to be the starting quarterback for the 2021 season. Mr. Jamar Goodman, your thoughts on this move? And then secondly, do you like this move?
Oh, boy. All right. Because I'm looking for a particular graphic here. Okay, I got it. All right. So I, when we had our show on Wednesday, when we had our NCAA show and you asked this question briefly, I kind of, maybe let some emotion spill over here, but I probably might have to reiterate those emotions. So,
yeah, we were taking it easy, y'all, on Wednesday night because we had to be brief.
All right, so let me just go with Ryan Pace's resume as far as quarterbacks in his tenure with the Chicago Bears.
I'm interested in hearing it.
All right, so let's see. His first signing in March of 2017, 4 years ago. Let's see. He signed Mike Glennon to a 3-year, $45 million contract.
That's a fat contract for a bomb.
For somebody who's only here for 1 year. And then the next month, he drafted Mitchell Trubisky, second overall pick, traded up one spot, gave him like 3 draft picks to get Mitchell Trubisky. We didn't draft Patrick Mahomes. I kind of get that one, but Deshaun Watson, that was clear as day. We didn't get him. Let's fast forward 3 more years. So last offseason when, the Bears needed to bring in competition, right? For Mitchell Trubisky, because, he started to go up, then regressed. And it's like, we had a crossroads here. And so, there was Andy Dalton. He was out there on the market last year. I think Cam Newton was out there, Teddy Bridgewater, Jameis Winston. It was some names that was definitely better than what they did, which
than what they just signed.
Yeah, this a couple of days ago, and what they did at that time, which was, give up a 4th round pick for Nick Foles, who looked very much beat up in Jacksonville, who didn't really get a chance to play much and was not the Super Bowl MVP that he was a couple of years prior to that. And not only they traded a 4th round pick for the man, they gave him more money, right? They gave him more money. And so And so now, we let Mitch walk. That's fine. He signed with the Buffalo Bills. Kudos to him. I wish him nothing but the best. And this all season is like do or die for the front office, right? So
Do or die.
So you got Russell Wilson. I commend them. They put out a valiant effort to go get the man. My thoughts is, everybody is tradable, I guess, for the right price. That's just my opinion. But they put out a good effort. 3 first rounders, a third rounder. A couple of players which maybe turned out to be maybe Khalil Mack and Akeem Hicks in that deal. Maybe not. They didn't want them. I'm like, okay. But, instead of, I feel like pursuing other options, there's Deshaun Watson. He's still out there. We'll talk about him later. I feel like there's other capable quarterbacks. He could have maybe made a stronger run at Jameis Winston before he re-signed back with the Saints.
And saying this for the longest, I knew they weren't going to get the big fish. I knew they weren't. But at least, go ahead, bro.
No, you're right. At least, get somebody, with a higher ceiling that, can maybe, make a little bit more sense. Derek Carr is a possibility. I wouldn't mind that more than what we got now.
Absolutely. Absolutely.
Carson Wentz, personally, I'm glad we didn't go that route, but still, that's for another day. But regardless, we got Andy bleeping Dalton. Andy Dalton. So you're telling me Ryan Pace and Matt Nagy is willing to risk their last year of their jobs on Andy Dalton, who came out on the press conference and said he was told that he's going to be the starter.
Came out cocky as hell.
Like, this dude, like, acting like he's the man in Chicago.
I'm telling you, bro.
Based on what they was telling him in that meeting, sign. So he
came out confident.
Man,
all cylinders firing.
You thought he was the guy straight out of TCU when he got drafted, the original Red Rifle, because you're definitely not that right now, man.
I'm telling you, boy. He thought he was Kobe.
But they pumped him up, gave him $10 million, could be up to $13 million in incentives. So you're telling me. So as of right now, the Bears got Andy Dalton.
That's a good one.
Nick Foles. Could have had, if you wanted Andy Dalton, could have got him for about $5 million cheaper last year. So now we got Nick Foles.
$7 million cheaper.
Yeah. So it's like, what are we doing, man? Like, seriously, right. What are we doing? Because I was so upset. I'm already posting on Facebook that Arizona got nice weather and a nice young quarterback. Miami does too.
A lot of weapons they've been getting this off. They've both been busy this offseason.
They have, and it's like, man, should I relocate my allegiance to one of those teams? Because look, the bottom line is a lot of Bears. Like, there's not one Bears fan that is happy right now that I've encountered with all of what's going on right now.
Nope.
Like, it's so confusing, man. And then here's the biggest confusing kicker here. So they do all this and they go, try to get Kenny Golladay, which I don't have a problem with, but it's right. Like we're doing this, but we're trying to get Kenny Golladay. Allen Robinson went from I'm not signing the franchise tag. Either you're gonna trade me or you're gonna get a long-term deal to, you know what, I'm gonna sign the franchise tag. So it's like, I'm not trying to use any profanity this morning, but it's like, right. What the F are you doing? With Kyle Fuller and Akeem Hicks and
all these moves,
and then signing Desmond Trufant, who can't stay on the field.
Desmond Trufant
as a replacement for Kyle Fuller.
As a replacement for Kyle Fuller. Somebody just cracked up, bro. Somebody just cracked up on Facebook. I don't know who it was. They just cracked up when you just said Desmond Trufant, and I totally agree. I don't know if it's Canoe from seminary. I don't know if it's Josh. I don't know if it's Deshaun. It's somebody out there. And they are angry. They are not happy. And they are laughing at the Chicago Bears. They went and signed Desmond Trufant, a washed up 15-year vet that should have been retired about 3 seasons ago. They went and signed him as a replacement thinking that they are making moves. I really, 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 y'all question the mental capacity of Ryan Pace, because he appears to not have all his, all the pieces. They don't seem to be clicking. Like, you go sign Andy Dalton, bro, to be a starter. You told him he's gonna be a starter. You could have signed him last year. You signed him for $7 million more. Just imagine, okay, even if you would have signed him, let's say, like, you could have brought him in for $5 million, like you were saying. Save yourself another $5 million. Gave that $5 million to either Kyle Fuller, gave that $5 million to either Allen Robinson, who threatened to not sign the franchise tag because he wants his bag and he deserves his bag. And you go give that to Andy Dalton. And it's sad to say, world, but I've been saying this for quite some time. I think the Chicago Bears organization is racist. I swear to my life. It just appears to just be like, I mean, world, like, this isn't adding up here. Like, they passes on Lamar Jackson, they passes on all these African-American quarterbacks whom they view as cancers in the locker room. Meanwhile, these other teams, they go separate the cancers from the locker room, and they care, Jamar, about what? Winning.
That's all it is.
They care about winning. The Bears, they don't appear to really care about that. They appear to care about their Caucasian fan base, the ticket holders, and the old lady in the booth. And I swear I need to leave that old lady alone. But I think she has a big, big part in a lot of this, as well as her son, who appears to just be an oil investor that don't know nothing about football and just simply want to own a football team just to have power. Period, bro. Power, period. This is absolutely sad. I think, and I would hate to put this out here, and we're going to get here shortly, but Jamar, I'm going to answer my question in advance. I think the Bears are trying to build something new or rebuild, because right now this just appears to be trash. Yes, Chris Ford, Bears are a dumpster fire. Deshaun Reed, I agree. Bears are trash. And he even put a ball to where, like, somebody's dumping a ball into a trash can. This is like this is like the perfect example here. Like, Chris and Deshaun got it perfect. It is a dumpster fire. And yes, exactly. It is about to just blow up. I don't know if the Bears, y'all, gonna win about maybe about 4-5 games, but it ain't no playoffs. Number two, I if they were to get Kenny Golladay, that would be nice. It would be a nice replacement, let's say, in regards to, we were kind of trying to get Kyle Fuller, but he went to Miami and just made them significantly better.
Will Fuller.
Yeah, Will Fuller, yes. But we couldn't get him, so hopefully we can get Kenny Golladay. I would like to see him in Chicago because he was a pretty good receiver. And remember, if we would have won that Detroit game last season, we probably would have been 9-7. But Kenny Golladay had a lot to say about that in that football game, and so we could use that as a weapon. We can have weapons, but our defense, without our defense, I don't know what we're gonna do. So it's going to be extremely, extremely a rough season. It is miserable being a Bears fan.
Yeah.
Yeah. Chris Ford, you got it good being a Colts fan. Deshaun, you got it good being a Steelers fan. I know y'all go through a little bit of stress, but being a Bears fan, it is like elevated. The stress is elevated, brother. It's elevated.
Dude, even the Bears players was upset. Like Eddie Jackson,
yes.
Twitter's like he's frustrated, and then Cordell Patterson, like that cap excuse, like that's BS. It really is. Because I don't want to hear about they cutting Kyle Fuller because of cap reasons, and no, like teams are being very creative out here this off season because the cap is so low because of COVID and stuff. They're being very creative to keep guys around to make things work. And you telling me you cut him because of cap reasons?
Mm-hmm.
I
Right.
almost swear. No,
Yeah,
it's
man.
bull.
If you don't mind, Jamal, let me hit on a few comments.
Yep.
Prescott JB, he mentioned hoping against hope that Justin Fields drops to us. If Justin Fields drops to us, I'll be happy. I'll be happy that they bring in at least Justin Fields. It won't be an immediate process, but
Bro, that would mean about 19 other teams will have to be stupid for us for Justin Fields to fall to us.
right, yeah, but we way back there, and so
They predicting I think six quarterbacks going in the first 7 to 8 picks.
right. So
So we
this
don't
is
have a
going to
top
be a
one. That's crazy.
quarterback-driven market, and the Bears are always at the back. Of course, right? Makes sense.
Always.
Yeah, and Chris Ford, he stated the Bears don't believe in a black quarterback ability to be smart enough to run an offense, but they believe in using black people for their aggression. Wow, absolutely amazing. How many linebackers do the Bears go drive? This is a linebacker city. This is Mike Singletary. This is Brian Urlacher. This is Dick Buckets. This is Chicago. We got to protect the middle. You go get linebackers, you do, but you don't go get no quarterbacks. And I'm sorry, you will not win a Super Bowl without a quarterback. And so, what do I have to say to the Chicago Bears? I will state, Fields to the shot is a long shot. The way the draft is set up this year, yeah, I agree with Sean. It would be nice if he was to drop. But sadly enough, and me and Jamar talked about this last week. If we were to get somebody in the draft, who will we get, Jamar? What's his name again?
Uh, I'm trying to
You know the
remember.
kid out of Alabama?
Oh no, man. No, stop. Don't.
This is who the Bears are going for.
Mac
So
Jones, no.
So I mean, y'all should have known. And JB, I hear you, brother. I wish, but you know they going out. You know they going after a white quarterback. You know that. And so in that case, Mac Jones, this white Alabama quarterback, appears to fit perfectly with the McCaskies and appears to fit perfectly with the city of, not the city of Chicago, but the outskirts of Chicago. The people that buy the season tickets, which is a lot of Latinos, it's a lot of blacks that buy season tickets, but we know who majority buy those season tickets. They are doing their best to please those people.
Dude, I feel like it could be a draft board full of Deshaun Watsons, Lamar Jacksons, Russell Wilsons, Justin Fields, and we'll go draft Vinny Testaverde.
Yep, you know Vinny Testaverde is on the market, right? You know Cade McNown is on the market, right? You know that Mike Glennon is on the market, right? I love your picture a few weeks ago. Deshaun Watson is a free agent, and then Ryan Pace with his glasses, like he's serious and being a smart person with his dumb ASS, goes to looking at Matt Nagy and say, "Hey, you know Alex Smith's a free agent." You know, like
it's like I'm laughing to keep from crying right now. That's all I can do.
Ridiculous, man. It's unbelievable.
It's a shame.
So
Man.
it is. And so it's gonna be very tough to watch this season. Jamal, I'm gonna find some good alternatives, man. You know, I'm gonna start just finding, maybe I'll start watching some other games or, find time to read a little. I don't know. I'm gonna find some good substitutes, some good substitutes, to kind of take in that time and find something else to do, because I already know it's gonna happen.
Yep, it's a wrap, dude. It's a wrap.
Yeah,
just cancel next season. I'm ready for the 2022 draft at this point. Just cancel.
Yeah. And I don't see how. But Tom Waddle, he stated really quickly, Jamar, that Brian Pace and Matt Nagy are not worried about their job security. He stated that they are doing what they're doing because they know that they won't be let go next season.
You know what this
And
reminds me of?
he said he's on a minority here, and that most of Chicago would not believe it or don't want to believe it. But according to sources, of which he's obviously Tom Waddle and very close to the organization, he states that they're not worried about their job security. So it will make sense then in this case for them possibly to begin a rebuild.
This reminds me of Garpax when it was around for the Bulls.
Mm-hmm.
Just getting a extended long leash when it's not deserved and should have been let go a long time ago.
Absolutely.
And it took for them to get let go. It took the All-Star game being in Chicago, from the fans chanting "Fire Garpax" on First Take Live and the Bulls documentary to come out, all that at the same time for them to get fired.
Mm-hmm.
So that lets me know something extreme would probably have to happen for them to get let go if that's the case.
Very, very sad. Yeah, and so obviously neither one of us like the move. The Bears organization appear to be in turmoil. And it's yeah. It's been everywhere. People all over Chicago, all over the sports world, they've been laughing at the Bears. They are cracking up. Ooh, they are cracking up. They are just roasting the Bears. They are rolling on the floor, Jamar, all over the NFL because they're like, are you serious? Literally, are you serious? And so, yes. Anyhow, the Bears also have made news, world. I don't know if you guys have heard. They have released our best cornerback, who I thought had the chance one day to be a possible NFL Hall of Famer. You let him go, and then you let go of Akeem Hicks, or you at least allow him to seek a trade. And so if you allow him to seek a trade, he likely will leave as well. And so I'm just curious, what message are the Bears trying to send after making these moves?
They don't care. they don't care. like basically like what I said with Kyle Fuller, like the cap reason for him being let go is BS. That's BS. You could have found like let's just say like
I would have let some people go. I would have let some special teamers go. You could have did a lot of things, bro, to let a few pieces go, maybe one or two players that are not really as relevant. And I would have even let Trevathan go before I let Cal Fuller go. That's just me.
Yeah. So, yeah, like you said, there's a number of ways to go. Like release some other players. I mean, you can get rid of Nick Foles because you don't need him unless you want Nick Foles and Andy.
That is a great example. Yes.
I heard this morning that the Eagles are looking for a high-level backup quarterback. So just trade them back to the Eagles. Save some money. Get a 7th round pick. I don't care. Just get them off the books. Like you could have restructured some more deals. You did with 3 players earlier in the week. I mean, just restructure some more contracts. Or like some other teams like Taysom Hill. They gave him a 4-year, $140 million extension with a bunch of void years, but they did it to where they can, free up some more cap space for this year and probably end up voiding his contract next year and then redoing a deal. So I mean, you could have did a lot. That's BS.
It is total BS.
Akeem Hicks, if the report of him, well, he's entering his last year of this deal, and the report of him, wanting a substantial raise after this, if that's true, then I'm like, okay, I can make more sense of that one. Because let's be honest, he hasn't been on the field like that in the last couple of years. So if I'm thinking like if I'm the GM, like, am I gonna give this man a substantial raise enter next year? No, but what I would do,
no. I just had to try to talk him through it, but it's hard to talk him through it, right, Jamar? When he found out, and this came out the day after he heard about what happened with Seattle, that he was offered a Camille Lackner, probably maybe kind of, set his fuse off a little bit, you know, made him a little
Maybe
upset, you know.
that. I mean, that's true. That's true. I mean, in all honesty, like deals like that, like it should never be leaked out in the full details of that.
Right. That is factual.
So
That's
whoever's
one that's
conducting, yeah, so whoever's conducting business, like you need to plug up a hole somewhere because that's not good
exactly
business. That would
dummies,
ruin
dummies,
franchises,
dummies,
chemistry,
dummies.
and everything else. I mean,
Yep.
heck, like just a couple examples of that. JJ Watt. Nobody knew where he was going until he
Mm-hmm.
actually signed. There was no leakage of that. He signed. And a
Mm-hmm.
better example, Kawhi Leonard. When he
Yes.
signed with the Clippers, nobody knew.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
So I'm just saying, like, you
Yep.
gotta conduct business in a better manner than that, because otherwise
And,
stuff
and
like this happens.
this is why we're talking about the Bears organization. Because whomever is a part of that organization that's doing that, you are absolutely right. They should say, hey, don't pump the brakes, buddy. Don't put that out there, okay?
Like people
Like,
get fired over that.
yeah, not in the Bears organization. They get
No.
promoted. They get promoted. Absolutely. We love this. Yes, we're going to promote you. Yes, you know, like they mess around and be a superstar after that in the Bears organization, of course. Bill Belichick, that was Bill Belichick in New England. What you think would have happened? He wouldn't have a job.
It would have been a wrap. Gone.
Yes,
Instantly.
absolutely. And so, yeah, man, go ahead.
But my final point is to answer your question. Like, no, I don't. It's like there's no real leadership here, like from the top. We know this.
Mm-hmm.
I think it starts with Ted Phillips all the way down, and probably the owner is, but we can't fire the owner. But
yeah, but
we can't
that's a major problem. That's definitely a major problem.
It's just bad, man. Like when up top, when the head is conducting business and doing things like this, it's kind of hard for everybody else to buy in, including the players, the fan base, and everything else, man. So
right. Yeah, I agree. And right now, the Bears do not have a happy fan base, and that is not good. You do not want to have like you want to at least have a divided fan base, Jamar. But on this situation, I even find folks in Blue Biblica, Illinois, or Redhead, Illinois, that believes the same thing as a person from the South Side of Chicago. They all are in the same agreement about this organization now. And so hopefully, well, not hopefully, now the folks from Abubuka, Illinois, they finally see what we've been talking about for years and years and years. It's like it's finally come to the light. And I know that through the Bears fan zone page, because often it's a divided process. But now everybody's in agreement. And so that ain't good. It ain't good when Tom Waddle is speechless on NFL radio and he don't even know what to say as I'm in my car driving, brother. He don't even know what to say about the move. He's speechless. And so when it comes to this, it appears that the Bears might try to be rebuilding, or they are super confident in Andy Dalton and thinking that he'll take us to the promised land. And so yeah.
We're stuck in the middle. And that's the worst spot you want to be in sports, in a franchise, stuck in the middle.
Yep, absolutely. Yep. It's like that brother that come outside that ain't got no change. And let's say, for instance, he drives somewhere, right? He know his car messed up. He know his tires a little potentially flat. And then he drive out to Abubuka, Illinois and catch a flat. And then he basically got to go outside and hitchhike, or he got to call for a ride. He ain't got no insurance. Like, that's the Bears right now. That's the Bears, like in a messed up situation in the middle of nowhere. And they had to, they've messed up their salary cap so bad, Jamar, that they've had to, say, hey, come on, man, do me this, do me that. And they're like, no, I'm not giving up Russell Wilson for you. No. It's like, you can offer me what you want to offer me, but Russell Wilson, even if he's unhappy in Seattle, he's their franchise. And so it was very, I mean, me and you, Jamar, knew this. We would try our best to get these guys, but then again, it would be very, very hard to kind of get Russ out of there, being that he is that city, he's that franchise. And so Seattle, I'm sure, gonna respond and give him more money probably when they get a chance to make sure to let everybody know we ain't giving up nothing. And so
I mean,
our best shot was Deshaun Watson.
and did they even like try? Like,
But that was what I heard. They didn't even try with him. Like they tried, but it wasn't like they didn't offer the house for him. Like,
which I find ridiculous all the way around, man. Because even with all the stuff that's going on with him, you still got teams that's still interested in this man.
oh yeah, Miami, man, they are putting it all out there. They
Miami,
understand that football players are going to be football players. They're going to be people.
Yep. Carolina, they're locked in to get this man. They are committed to get this man. The Eagles, even this morning, that I heard that they're extremely interested in this man. And like,
I wouldn't let that get in the way of football as an owner or as a GM. Hell no.
no.
That's the best problem. He's going to be a cancer in the locker room.
Yeah,
sure.
Okay.
Go on 16 then. Anyhow, so just quickly, Gerard, does this make the Bears a playoff team next year?
Come on,
and world, please, y'all.
Come on.
Don't laugh. We just wanted to ask the question, okay? So please don't it's not that funny. Like we just wanted to ask. Just to ask.
Come on, man. Nah, man. No. Zero. No.
Does this
the Lions are probably better than us right now.
Matt Campbell, you hit us, we hit you back. We're gonna get knocked down, but we're gonna get back up. Like,
yep, that man and that team is probably better than us right now.
Yeah. I hear you, man. And so this is indeed the scenario here. Does not make the Bears a playoff team. Doesn't leave us in a good position now or within the near future. And so Bears fan, your loyalty is going to be tested severely, as it already has been tested, but it will be tested in a very, very, very high level in the coming years. And so, all right, that concludes. Joshua Khan said, hell no. All right, so that's our talk about the Chicago Bears. But guys, we gotta get into an unfortunate situation. But I'm gonna take up for this guy. Deshaun Watson now has 12 lawsuits pending against him, world, of which most of these assaults are sexual related. Young lady has been basically, claiming that, he was doing certain things, it even led to oral sex and stuff with some girls and stuff. And so it's an unfortunate situation with, with Deshaun Watson here. But I'm gonna just go ahead and I'm gonna chime in just on the basis of understanding sometimes that athletes will be athletes. A lot of them have diva mentalities. I've been in sports locker rooms, superstars do. And, if they have money, sometimes that brings power. My only thing is with these women in these lawsuits, it's just fun that they all come out at one time. It is additionally funny how most of these women have consented to do stuff with Deshaun Watson, but yet and still, like, they went ahead and went with it. And so what role or what does that play in this whole thing when they have given consent with this individual? And so I guess that's the tough part for me is the consent, like they agreed. And so it's an odd situation. It's sad to see it all come out amongst this. You know, I just, I will say this. If Houston gets fed up and they get like the Chicago Bears, y'all, and they don't want to be bothered with Deshaun Watson, and let's just say hypothetically they release Deshaun Watson. We don't want to be involved with him. He's a cancer to the locker room. If I was Ryan Pace, that's just me. If I was Ryan Pace, I would shoot a shot still at Deshaun Watson. Yes, that's right, world. Even after hearing about these allegations. That's just me. And so when it comes down to it, I don't necessarily condone his behavior, but at the same time, I have to look at talent standpoint. I have to look at a leadership standpoint. I have to look at the respect he commands in the locker room. And I have to look at the fact that he is a proven winner and that he will change my ticket sales. He will change my franchise. Although there will be a few people like, no, he's a sexual this or that. Just for me, I'll have to look at it from the basis of football. And so hopefully Houston gets angry and release him. If they do, I will be right there to scoop. That's just me. But we'll see what Houston does. I highly doubt if they do. But if they do, I'll be there to scoop if I'm Ryan Pace. Jamar, your thoughts?
So let's just say if all this is true about Deshaun Watson, just if all this is true, then yeah, he should be, convicted and everything else with it. With all that being said, I just find this, very, the coincidental that all this is, happening right now.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
With him out of nowhere when we haven't even, like, in his whole career, we haven't heard anything negative about the guy off the field at all.
Mm-hmm. Right.
And so, this right here is just, I don't buy it. I call BS. This is big BS.
It's a lot of opportunists out there.
Absolutely.
And these lawsuits are for $100,000s, and this is life-changing money, Jamar. This is money to pay off student loans, buy homes, and nice cars, and blah blah blah.
Exactly. They just trying to come after the man because he wasn't, I guess, compliant with how the organization feels. Because that the lawyer that's representing these people, Tony Bugsby, I think his name is.
Tony Bugsby.
Apparently, there's a connection. I think with him and the Texans himself. I think that's their lawyer as well, if I'm not mistaken. And then also, gotcha. There was a tweet from the Houston Police Department here saying, at this time, HPD is unaware of any contact between HPD and Houston attorney Tony Bugsby regarding the allegations contained in his recently filed lawsuits, and no incident reports regarding these allegations have been filed in our jurisdiction. So I mean, this is just more so trying to tarnish this man's image, trying to basically bring him down. It's because he's a black quarterback that has power in Houston and wants out and doesn't want to be there. So that's how I feel, because I don't buy any of this BS. Like, leave the show.
It's all a big coincidence, and that is a very good point. I didn't look at it from the standpoint, Jamar, of him more not a Houston, and all these people are affiliated with Houston. Good point.
So it's bull. This is bull. I call BS. As soon as the first one came out, I'm like, oh, okay, this is bull. Then you find some other ones with the same thing. And they said all this started like within the last month or something like that, with the text messages, and the text messages really didn't like say anything or anything. Like, this is bull. I'm not buying it. I'm standing behind Deshaun.
Right. And so this woman definitely is doing her best to secure the bag. for real. And make sure she never, ever, ever have to starve for a meal again. I know the masseuse jobs can be very volatile, and she definitely realizes her power as a woman. We see this happen a lot with athletes, some which are very true and some which are not. I don't know which is true, which is not. I know athletes can be athletes. Me and you, Jamar, have played sports in our life. We know athletes can be athletes. I don't know, man. If it's from multiple people, then that's my biggest thing. If it's from multiple people, Jamar, I think me and you can put two and two together that somebody likely is telling the truth, because it's, that doesn't often, if it's
But
from 5 or 6 people,
but
you know,
I'll point this out though, like, because normally if it seems like perception is if you're guilty, you'll have like PR release a statement or something on your behalf. But Deshaun came out and said like, no, I ain't do this.
right.
So
Yeah, he haven't said anything in regards to right. And so that's a very good point, man. So if he's not, you know, he's not issuing certain things, it could very well be that this is just a setup here. And so more to come from this. We will see what happens. Don't want to spend too much time on this. It's just very interesting. I'm pretty sure Ryan Fitzpatrick, a ton of Caucasian quarterbacks do things like this, but somehow, some way, they don't get to certain things or certain treatment that Black quarterbacks get. It's
look at Robert Kraft. I mean, he did it. He had his own little,
oh,
shenanigans.
he had a whole line. He got cleaned away as we expected, right?
Of course.
Scot free away. Very, very, very valid point, my friend. And so, yeah, we will definitely see what happens with that. That is a valid point, my brother. All right. And so, before we get into the NCAA tournament, let's just quickly, Jamar, state in NFL free agency, can you give the world a team that you have been most impressed with this offseason?
Oh yeah, without a doubt. There's one team that comes to mind, and
Yeah.
I'm pretty sure you know where I'm going with this. And I
Yep.
just want to, matter of fact, it's the New England Patriots, without a doubt, without a shadow of the doubt, the New England
Yep.
Patriots. And I'm about to
Gotta
pull.
meet Tom next year.
Oh yes, Bill went and saw exactly what Tom Brady and the Buccaneers did. He saw, and so Bill, GM Bill, went out and did what he had to do to make sure his team is competitive again.
Mm-hmm.
And so, give me a second here. I'm trying to get all the people that they signed here.
Yeah, I just pulled up my team. But New England has definitely been busy. Only loss they really had was Patrick Chung retiring, but he's kind of washed up anyway. And at the end of his career, Patrick Chung. So I can understand that one, They are getting Hightower's coming back, right? So they are going to get a lot of the guys that they had out, especially a lot of defensive guys they had out last year. They're going to come back. And so that's going to be very, very interesting,
That team is going to be locked and loaded. I think I got it up right here. Yeah, I guess this will work. All right, so last year they got Cam Newton on basically like a veteran minimum. They gave him $5 million, I think, got up to $6 million. They basically run it back with Cam, and this time around, they got weapons. They gave him some.
And that's the great thing. Thank you for giving him some weapons.
So you got they went back to the 2 tight end formula, which a decade ago was very successful with them, because when they had Aaron Hernandez and Gronk, I mean that team was that was tough to defend.
Yeah.
So they went back there, got Jonnu Smith, who was a very, very exceptional talent from the Tennessee Titans. And you got Hunter Henry, who was definitely just as good. So you got them two. You went out and got Kendrick Bourne, who's a very underrated receiver. You got
Yep.
Nelson Aguilar, who actually proved
Yes.
that he was, last year, he can definitely be productive in NFL. So you got somebody to take the top off the defense, which they haven't had in I don't know how long.
Mm-hmm.
So you got
They
that.
showed up their offensive line.
They sure did. They traded and got back Trent Brown from Oakland. Oh, I'm
Yep.
sorry, Las Vegas. They signed somebody else too that was actually pretty solid.
Right.
Um, David Andrews. That's who they got for center. Matt Judon. That was a huge signing. A versatile pass rusher. And then not to mention like you mentioned the guys that's coming back from last year that opted out. So that
Right.
defense is back. That
Mm-hmm.
offense is going to be better. New England is going to be relevant next year.
Again,
Relevant.
putting that out there on the Early Morning Sports Talk podcast. New England will be relevant again come next season. They will not be an 8-8, 7-9 team.
Nope. And
Yeah, that
lastly,
division. I can't wait to see them in Buffalo.
that's gonna be a dogfight because
Yeah.
as good as Buffalo is, New England is not letting up. They're not.
Right.
They will be there. That's gonna be a dogfight for real.
Yeah, absolutely. For myself, the team I've been most impressed with, Jamar, is the team the Bears got lucky to get past last year in regards to this final wild card spot, the Arizona Cardinals. Arizona have been very busy this offseason. Um, getting defensive end JJ Watt, of course. And so you start with that. And that's always a very, very good thing when you get a superstar like that. He is proven to be a very, very good ball player, 3-time defensive player of the year, arguably 4 times in his career. And so you take him, anybody pretty much got a chance to win with JJ Watt on that team. You promote Adrian Wilson to VP. I love the diversity there within the organization. You keep Robert Alford. You just get him now for less. He has always been a solid quarterback, man. Cornerback. Tanner Vallejo. I don't know if the world has heard of him, but he is a very solid linebacker. He has been kind of a bounce around guy, but with the money that they got him for, he could be a very good special teamer and a guy that you can plug in, on certain, coverages, certain things on the defensive end of the ball. And then a big one for me is AJ Green. So AJ Green, putting him alongside of, Larry Fitzgerald and putting him alongside Mr. Hopkins, that is a very good weapon to have with big hands and arguably a Hall of Famer. And so if you're talking to just be able to lob that ball up, get some nice, touchdowns at the 1-2 yard line, you got plenty of options now with Larry and AJ Green. That is a very solid move. And then Matt Prater. Let me educate the world on Matt Prater. Me and you, Jamar, know he is one of the most solid kickers in NFL history. And having this guy, literally, people don't realize the importance of special teams in football. You got the right kicker. That is often a difference of 3 to 4 wins in a season if you got the right kicker that's kicking the ball the right way. And so I like Arizona, man. I think they have made some good acquisitions to be very relevant in a very tough NFC West. But not only put themselves in position for the NFC West, but put themselves in position for the NFC. The biggest question, like you mentioned, Jamar, last week for Arizona will be the progression of their quarterback, Kyler Murray. And so, all right, well, let's not transition from the NFL's, worst franchise, Chicago Bears, and talking about teams that have had a great offseason to the NCAA tournament. And so, Jamar, just quickly, how impressed were you with U of I's tournament debut yesterday?
Hey, I mean, they handle business.
Right.
They handle business. Once they got going, it was a wrap. I saw, I think the first half,
Mm-hmm.
some of the first half, and they were just I guess, getting their feet wet. But after a while, it was like, okay, they just kicked it into gear, and they were just, overmatched their opponents, and did what they had to do. I'm impressed. I mean, I guess, but they just,
It's
I
only a
mean,
first round
just
win, right?
yeah, another day at the office.
Yeah, I got you. I was impressed as well. They took care of business against a team that really, wasn't even worthy of being on the same floor as them. Um, took care of business the way you're supposed to. So, impressive first win, but you got 5 more to go. And people are expecting you to at least win 3 to 4 more. If not, it's a disappointment, U of I. So, good game though. Additionally, after watching Loyola Chicago get off to a slow start, but eventually take care of Georgia Tech, me and you pointed out that we pointed this out Wednesday night, Jamar, if you remember that they Georgia Tech was a dangerous team, but then the news came out that their ACC Player of the Year, Joshua Wright, was going to be out, and they missed him very bad yesterday. As Loyola started out slow, but they eventually just took care of Georgia Tech. So just curious, because Loyola is a very good basketball team. I don't know if the world knows. Yes, that little school up north can go with anybody in the country. Just curious on how dangerous this team can be against U of I and the Illinois showdown tomorrow. And I think this would be nice, bro, to post, on Facebook, like, we do our recap and stuff prior to the game to kind of get folks a little bit excited. But we got U of I versus Loyola tomorrow. And so curious on how dangerous this team could be against U of I tomorrow. Should U of I be worried?
I mean, I won't necessarily say they should be worried, but they cannot take them for granted. That's for sure. You just got to play your game. If they play their game, they'll take care of business. But I mean, if they come out there and don't take them seriously, then we can see what happens when Ohio State and Purdue last night. So just handle business like you should. Take it one game at a time. It should be a fun game for the most part, but I expect U of I to handle business.
Yeah, I agree with you. U of I just got to come out focused. The matchup I'm looking forward to, though. And we talk about Kofi, and this brother is something special. Like, seeing what he does, right, Jamar, on the basketball court, and how talented he is, and how much of a man he is out there on the floor. Like, he is something special for sure. Yeah. And so seeing him go up against Cameron Krutwig of Loyola, I'm looking for that matchup. 2 big guys going at it tomorrow. That could very well determine who could possibly be the winner of the game. If Kofi gets the best of Krutwig and he gets a lot of points tomorrow, then U of I probably overwhelms them early. Yeah. But if Krutwig has a pretty solid game and he puts up 25 or more, even let's say 20 and a double-double, right. This gives Loyola a chance to make this a very, very hard fought game. So Loyola is definitely not going to be scared of U of I. We know U of I has the more talent, but it's the NCAA tournament and giants do fall. And so I'm looking forward to this matchup tomorrow. This will be a very exciting matchup. But I think the big matchup, brother, in that game is the 2 big guys. Who can get the best of each other? And can the Loyola guards, can they contain Ayo? If they can obtain Ayo, which will be tough to do with his speed and his talent and his game is just so beautiful, so smooth. Like, this game could become interesting. But if these guys go ahead and they, like you say, play their game, do what they've been doing all season, they should take care of Loyola in what could be a game that could come down to the final 8 minutes. Yeah. Something like that, So, yeah.
But I'm looking forward to it, though.
Yeah, definitely. Just curious, man, were you surprised by Purdue, Ohio State, and they fall?
Man, like my bracket is hurting, especially
My
with the
bracket
Ohio
is
State one.
ruined. My
That
bracket is ruined.
that
It's
hurt.
ruined.
So
It's all messed up, man.
so I got the the March Madness app, and both of those games let me know like, hey, this is coming down close. Like you should check it out. I'm like, all right, Ohio State, the point guard, Washington. My gosh,
Right. Mm,
like just overall, if they hit their free throws, that game is over before it even gets to overtime, by far.
hmm hmm
This guy Washington turning over the ball, can't even hit free throws. Um, couldn't even make a shot at all between I think the last 3 minutes and in overtime. This dude, he probably had one and one layup, but I don't even remember if he hit the free throw or not. But dude, like they just couldn't hit free throws, and it was going against what I was told the best free throw shooting team in the nation.
Oral Roberts.
Yeah, for
Wow, I never knew that. These schools, they be sleep on these little schools, man. But that's the danger of the tournament, right? The danger, Jamar, is we don't watch Oral Roberts.
we don't.
I don't have Oral Roberts Network on my TV. And so I don't know what they do. The best I could do, which is very hard to do, is look at a whole 32 games and go through each game, Jamar, and say, okay, which team scores this? What they do well this? Let me watch a little eye test on the film. That's hard to do.
Yeah, we don't have time for that in our
Yes.
everyday lives.
Yeah.
But yeah,
Hard.
like they miss. I think Ohio State missed like 8, 9 free throws total. Like you just
Yes.
had to hit your free throws. The game would have been over. And yet,
Yeah.
that's what happens when you don't hit your free throws. Can't make shots.
Same with Purdue, man. The same with Purdue.
Yeah,
Point blank layups. Like they're layups. They're missing layups, free throws. And North Texas just they got heart.
killing them with the pick and rolls, the pick and pops, the misdirection. They was playing their game.
Yep. They made Purdue look like North Texas, in other words, where the big program knows how to put the small program under pressure. North
Yeah,
Texas came out the entire game and put Purdue under pressure. And the team that usually dictates that tone is the team that usually wins.
you're right. It's Temple is a big factor in all this.
Mm-hmm.
Between being well coached and the tempo they play and controlling the pace and things of that nature, like that all plays factors. And if you can't play your game, if you're forced to play somebody else's game, you're already at a disadvantage. I don't care how big or elite
Absolutely.
your team is. If you're
Yep.
playing somebody else's game, you're in trouble.
Especially for one night only.
Yep, it's not a 7-game series.
This ain't a 7-game series.
This is it.
This
Do
is
or die.
this is one night only. Yes, this
Win or
is
go
one
home.
night only.
As for
And
Purdue, they didn't have far to go home. They just went up the street.
exactly.
Like, geez, like this is definitely not the team that we saw last time when we went to the NCAA tournament with Carson Edwards. This is not that team.
Yeah, man. That last team, and I'm still hurt from that. We lost to Virginia. It wasn't the team. It wasn't. Kevin had mentioned another team, but remember, we lost to Virginia in the Final Four, and it was one of the most classic games ever. And Carson Edwards was going off. I remember just like, wow, what a fun game. And, Purdue fell up short that game, which I felt if we would have went to the national championship, we would have won. But then again, most fans always feel like.
Of course. We're fans.
Right. So, yeah, Purdue went right up the street to lose. Sad to see. Maybe if they would have played at Mackey, it would have been better, but it really didn't matter. Indiana has some of the biggest gyms in the country. Indiana always produces and always is hosting something. And I love Indianapolis and I love the Circle City, Naptown. They have some of the best ice cream in the country. So yeah. Yeah, man, I love that ice cream in the Circle. Yeah, Sierra know what I'm talking about, my sister. So Indianapolis, great host. We'll see what happens with the rest of this tournament. A lot more March Madness going on. If I got one upset today, Jamar,
What you got?
One upset that I think could potentially happen, it would be Ohio to
Yes.
upset Virginia.
I picked
I
that.
will be looking out for that game. So my upset for this weekend is Ohio to upset Virginia. And I just want to see what Grand Canyon do against Iowa. We'll see. I think Iowa could overpower them easily. But I never seen Grand Canyon, Jamar. This is the trick of this tournament. I don't know nothing about Grand Canyon. Nothing about them, bro.
At all. I didn't even know Grand Canyon was a college.
Yeah. And so we saw a 15-2 drop yesterday. A little school we know about. What I know about Oral Roberts. We both know about Oral Roberts, right?
I heard of
But
them. Yeah.
but we've never really watched them on TV because they don't come on TV. And they upset Ohio State. So could we see something crazy like this happen today with a Grand Canyon knockoff of Iowa, which would just turn this tournament upside down? Very, very possible. So we will see.
But yeah, I want to see this Preston guy from Ohio. I do. I just hear good things. NBA talent too, so I want to see it.
Right. And so, world, we thank you all for tuning in with us on the Early Morning Sports Talk podcast. One of a conversation today where we've talked about the Bad News Bears. We've hit on free agency, teams that we like what they've been doing this offseason. The Bears in their abysmal offseason made us ask which teams are doing something good. And so Arizona, I think, is on the rise, and Jamar definitely sees New England being on the rise, and I see that as well. And then we concluded with the lovely NCAA tournament. And so just curious, Jamar, as we head into this weekend, brother, any final thoughts or shout outs as we head into this weekend?
Yeah, I was about to mention one thing, but literally something came up across my phone. So Ohio State forward EJ Liddell, apparently he's being attacked on Twitter.
Oh, really?
From, I guess, last night's loss.
Death threats?
It's definitely inappropriate stuff. So basically, he said, "What did I do to deserve this? I'm human." And I guess in regards to everything that's going on, one fan said, "You are such a effing disgrace. Don't ever show your face at Ohio State. We hate you. I hope you die. I really do."
Oh, please. These idiot fans need lives.
Aye.
Whoever said that is a fat, chili eating corn dog. And then after that, he have a roll of corn and then go poop individual. Like, and sit on a couch probably in a mobile trailer. Go sit down somewhere.
Like I'm gonna be very clear. Like I love sports probably just as much as the next person or maybe even more, but it's never that serious to go attack somebody verbally, physically, emotionally over a sporting event based on the result that you didn't like. It's never that serious.
This is the lesson we're sending out to the world, okay? Don't go attack Ryan Pace, okay? Do not go do this, all right? All right, well.
Bro. I'm done. I'm done.
Well, take this as a lesson, all right? You see.
I'm done. I'm done with you. Cut this. Cut it. We're done.
Oh my God, my stomach hurt. Hey, well, if y'all see Ryan Pace downtown on Michigan Avenue, don't attack him, all right? This is what Jamar is trying to let the world know, okay? It is not that serious, okay? Even amongst all that we have been through, we don't want to take sports to the level of attacking someone or hurting someone because of us not winning football games and things like that, okay? So if you see Ryan Pace, don't soccer punch him or don't do nothing like that and let him know how bad of a GM he is. Just say hi and bye, okay? And he's a human being at the end of the day. And so that's what matters most, right? And so thank you for that, Jamar. It's sad to see, though, what those Ohio State fans talking about a terrible fan base.
Like, these are kids, man. These are
Mhm.
college kids. Like, you sending death threats to college kids?
Yes, yeah.
Like, I mean, death threats in general is unacceptable, but college kids, you really sending death threats to college kids?
Like college kids, like really, like come on, like, and this goes for the Chicago Bears too, world. Don't go sending death threats to Brian Pace and those guys just because they're doing.
You know what? Cut this. We're done. See you all next week.
Goodbye, world. Y'all have a blessed weekend, okay?
We're done.
Thank you for tuning in to the Early Morning Sports Talk podcast. Peace.